Hey, good evening, people. Ms. Golansky, how are you? Roy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys tonight?
Good. I'm trying to figure out the lighting. Sorry that it's like way up above and it's bright.
Oh yeah, that one that's right. Well, it's not up above your head. You can see like a beam of light coming. All you got to do is just like shift it over to the left or to the right, and you'll be good. Yeah, that's better, just like that.
Like that
either way. There you go.
Okay.
How are you guys doing?
Pikey.
Well, that worked out well, didn't
That was very graceful.
Minor technical difficulties, nothing major.
Yeah. Well, if you saw my setup, you'd be disappointed. But anyway.
I've seen some interesting setups. So, did you guys? I know Nurith, you watched the Pony League World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Roy, you missed it.
Did you?
Pretty exciting.
I did not keep up with that.
It was actually pretty exciting.
Beyond now, I did keep up with all of Nurith's posts about the World Series.
Yeah, so my beef with that. Ooh, we got some feedback somewhere, but I'm nasty. My beef with that is that I didn't even know that the World Series was on. And if it wasn't for a friend of mine posting it, hey, if you want to watch the link, it's here. It's like I would not have known. I don't think. What relationship, what you guys know, does that league have? Are they connected to the city of Brownsville?
I asked Dino Chavez, and he explained it to me that they do have, like, you have little leagues that have to be, but then they do an elite league where they can get to pick the best of the best, and like out of that area. And so that's why I could only count one guy, and it turns out that he's my hairdresser, or my former hairdresser's nephew from Brownsville. The other kids were from Los Fresnos, Mission, McAllen, and other places.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was a little disappointed. I don't know. I mean, this is a big deal, and I didn't see enough of that come out of. I don't know. Do you think the city would want to? Hey, we're in the World Series. You know, our pony league is in the World Series, but I didn't. And I like to think I'm online a lot, which I pretty much am, and I just didn't see anything like that. And then when I saw the crowd, and I know they were playing out of town, but there was like this many people for Youngstown, and then it was like just a small group for Brownsville. It would have been nice to have a bigger turnout.
Where was the game played?
I think it was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah. Where they played against Youngstown, Ohio. And I think it was in Pennsylvania. So, it's a long haul, and not that it's the city's responsibility to put people there, but I don't know, make a little more noise about it. It would have been nice. Just ranting on that. Jimmy B, welcome. So you guys had your city commissioners meeting yesterday. How did that go?
Those are always fun, right, Nurith? I think so. You never know what's going to be the hot issue.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big welcome sign. Thank you. Did you do that, Manny, or is it one of your viewers?
No, I did that. I got that.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Go right ahead.
Roy, did you think that the topics that would get more conversation between us were the ones that ended up getting that much conversation?
At least one of them. I think I had an inkling on at least one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I prepped, I knew which two I was probably voting which direction on. That would be I like that most of the time the commission is unanimous. I knew that those were a couple where that probably would not happen, and I was right.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to get into that in a bit. I wanted to get your opinion, if you feel comfortable enough to speak on it. What's going on now between all the school districts and Governor Abbott?
Manny, I'm very shy. I don't like talking about politics.
Yeah, right.
Ladies first. I'll let Nurith go first on that topic.
So for those of you who don't know, Governor Abbott signed a bill that would make it, I don't know, let's just call it against the law for any business or entity to enforce or try to enforce a mask mandate.
Government entity.
a government entity. Okay. And so some school districts in the state of Texas have decided to defy that and implement a mask mandate anyway. So governors say, well, I'm going to sue you, whoever does that. And then districts who are installing the mandate decide, well, we're going to sue you so that we can put a mask mandate on. And it looks like the governor's winning that battle right now. Your guys' opinion on masking, I'll let you know my opinion. I guess I'll tell you my opinion first of all. I think it should be the parents' opinion to decide a couple of things, whether or not they want to mask their kid. And I think most are going to want to anyway. But I think it should be their choice. And two, if not, they can always either homeschool their kid, or there's got to be some kind of alternate way for them to educate their child, if I'm not mistaken. I think Texas, they're allowed to do that here. But I'm not a mask fan. I got my own theories on that, but whoever wants to jump in first.
Wait, I asked, are you vaccinated?
Yes, I am. I actually am. Are you, Roy? I am.
Fully, double.
Yeah.
I got Moderna.
Pfizer back in March.
Yeah. Well, normally I'm very much, you do what's good for you, and as long as it doesn't affect me, then more power to you. Whatever. Everyone should have the choice. My one concern is that children don't really have. We still don't know what's going to happen, either in the short term or the long term. But I guess the parents or it's my opinion that the parents would be the best suited to make those decisions for them. So, ultimately, I agree with you. I don't know that she'll appreciate that I say this in public, but that was a topic of conversation in my family last week because my sister's not vaccinated. And so I've got two nephews. One's a 13-year-old and the other one will be 10 on Saturday. And she has not gotten vaccinated herself. Her husband is vaccinated, and her 13-year-old, she doesn't want to get vaccinated. And he's starting football. So in my family, the concern is like, why wouldn't you get vaccinated? And my nephew, that he's 13, he's ineligible. If he's going to be playing football, then he should be vaccinated too. But ultimately, it's her decision, and it's her children. So there's not much we can do about it.
So from what you, in your experience, the ones that are against vaccination, is it because they don't believe in the vaccine? Do they believe in a conspiracy theory, or is it they just don't believe in it?
Because I was at my sister's house on Monday, and we asked her about it, and she goes, I've never really believed in vaccines. She doesn't take the flu shot, which I think is also kind of nutty, just because I've always done it, and I don't find it to be problematic. But at the same time, I do know of people who have an adverse reaction to the flu shot whenever they do take it. And so maybe for that reason, they choose not to. But I don't agree with people, and I hope most people have come to realize that that's not true, that vaccines cause autism or there's some correlation, because I think science has proved that to not be true. Like in my sister's case, I believe that she just doesn't know what the long-term effects are. And she says, what she said specifically was, look, the kids are young. At least she might consider vaccinating herself because she's a year younger than me, so she's 45. She says, I've lived a good life so far, and a pretty good life, but the kids are young. They still have a lot ahead of them. And so what if the vaccine has negative effects long-term? It's a different point of view, I guess, or it's a point of view.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys were able to watch. A couple of weeks ago, I had a PA by the name of Miguel Escobar, and he was the one who spoke in front of the Edinburgh School District last month and caused quite a stir. In fact, that video went viral. It was all over the news, everywhere, and his stance was that the vaccine isn't safe. Masking is not safe. He wanted the right to himself have the parents make the decision whether or not to mask their kid or not. And then I had him on my show, and he's quite a character. It was a 3-hour program, and got a lot of views, over 8,000 views on that video in a couple of weeks. And a lot of people, I'm surprised, it was about 95%, 96% in supporting him. Even medical professionals and nurses and people who work, hospitals and in the dental industry were in support of him, even though he kept saying, yeah, masks don't work. That was his big thing. Masks don't work. And one of the points he brought up, because I had him on twice, the second time he brought up a point of, when you wear your mask and you breathe like into a phone or a piece of glass, it'll fog up through the mask. So guess what that means? Particles are getting through, moisture is getting through the lens, the glass is fogging up. So, I was kind of on the fence with, my thing is don't be a mask hole, which is if you're going to wear a mask, okay, fine, wear it. Don't criticize those that don't want to wear it. And if you don't want to wear it, okay, fine. But don't criticize people that do want to wear it. Just let everybody be. Roy, what say you?
I'm going to be the more controversial of the two.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
So let's start with the whole your phone fogging up, glasses fogging up, whatever the hell else fogs up. I'll give you an example. Let's say I've got a cold and I'm sneezing. You think you're going to get more wet when I'm wearing a mask sneezing or less wet when I'm wearing a mask sneezing? And it goes back to, yes, we're talking about the droplets. It's not just is the most minuscule particle able to get through. These aren't 100% blocks, because if they were 100% blocks, we'd suffocate. That's not what they're intended to be. But this is about right there, sneezing. If I'm sneezing, would you prefer that I'm wearing a mask sneezing at you or not wearing a mask sneezing in your direction?
I'm afraid you don't sneeze, but.
So yeah, I don't trust his science on that. I don't agree with his science on that. It's nice, but no, it doesn't pass the sniff test. I think most people, as far as those that are supporting him, I think most people are automatically going to come down on the side of individual freedom. And I agree with them to a great extent, but we're talking about public health here. And there is a greater good that has to be served. And there's a reason the government gets to get involved in certain things like wearing seatbelts and other vaccines that are required, because public health is a concern of the government. When it comes to kids, you ever been to a restaurant where there's that one or two families whose kids are running all over the place, and those are the parents who are least interested in paying attention to disciplining their children? Same concept here. And here the parents aren't even around. Now we're in school. Whose kids are going to be the most misbehaved in school?
Yeah.
Exactly. And bottom line is the school is responsible for them. Between the hours that they're attending school, the school should have the right to mandate certain things, and they do have the right to mandate certain things. Masks are no different. I understand where Governor Abbott's coming from. I don't agree with his views. I understand, but bottom line is we've left it to Texas knows enough about it. We're going to do it by personal choice, but look at our numbers. Look at our hospital beds. Bottom line is personal choice is not getting the job done when it comes to this vaccine. And I applaud the districts that are standing up, because I believe they're doing it in good faith for what they feel is the welfare of the children that they are charged with the care of. So I think they should keep up the fight. And I think it was the district court and the appellate court sided with the districts and the counties. The state Supreme Court sided with the governor. I'm hopeful this makes it to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah, and they may get there. I'm not sure what the next step is, but there was a list out there of the districts that they're calling not in compliance. And
I saw that.
Every few hours, a couple more keep getting added to the list of county school districts that are in compliance.
I saw a new headline today where some districts have started to adopt masks as part of the dress code.
Right.
Which is now a whole other avenue to try and run at it from.
A little loophole, perhaps, a way to get around that.
Which both sides are always guilty of trying to exploit loopholes and end runs when they can.
Now, all the discussions I hear talking about kids getting infected or sick, supposedly the numbers are increasing, children being hospitalized or being, hospitalized. I'm a big numbers guy. It's like I'm a big evidence person. Like, show me the evidence, and I haven't heard it. I haven't seen it. I don't know how true the numbers. I don't know what to believe the numbers. I mean, some like the state of Florida was miscalculating the numbers. They were misrepresenting the numbers, saying, "Oh, there was 29,000 just in one day," when it turned out to be 29,000 over like a long weekend or something like that. So it just wasn't for one day.
Would that surprise you coming from Florida, Manny?
Yeah, it actually did.
If anybody's going to miscount, I would expect Florida to miscount.
And so the other argument is, and this is from health professionals also, is that, kids have strong immune systems, and people too. For the most part, their body's natural immune system is the premium, the elite immune system over a vaccine. It's more stronger than a vaccine. Why not let the immune system work on its own? And,
No, just.
No, I think we lost Roy. Roy, you froze. Here, let me put up a couple of comments here. Mary Lou, hello. Christina, how are you? Thanks for showing up. Channel 5 mentioned the news tonight. Hey, Richard. Sean, yes. Okay. Are people that all want students to mask up thinking about the suicide rate of youth since mandates started? Masks, social distancing, and canceling extracurricular activities have hurt our youth way more than COVID will ever. Now, that's a good point. I don't know what the actual true number is of suicide or suicide attempts. I did hear of that. I know there was a huge increase in the number of kids that were depressed. The actual number of suicide, I don't know what they are. Have you heard any of that at all? Either suicide or depression, or kids being? I
do remember hearing last year that there were some deaths locally but probably not even a handful. My concern early on in the pandemic was just because I have a background in CPS, and so when they had the shutdown and everyone was sheltering at home, that was prime opportunity for major abuse to happen. I remember I'd walk, using the Southmost Hike and Bike Trail, and I'd see all the beer cans that people would throw out. Oh, we're all frozen.
I got you. He's back. Yeah,
okay.
We got you.
Okay, because I see that we're frozen. And so just based on the circumstances and what I know about child abuse, that when everyone was sheltering at home and people were at wit's end because they were trying to make ends meet and stuff, then the incidence of child abuse, of abuse at home, both even like just domestic violence and abuse and neglect of children, was higher, and then it was harder for them to report it because you didn't have the kids going to school. So it would be harder for the authorities to find out. So for me, that was a big concern early on. And that's why I was really concerned when BISD stopped giving the free lunches, that one period for about a month, I think it was, because that's teachers do a whole lot more than just teach your students. They're their caretakers. They're the first ones to report and see things when they see that something's not right. So I understand where Royce is coming from, and I do. Yeah, there's consequences to the mandates and to kids not going to school.
Yeah, I was always for getting the kids back in school. I'm a big believer that kids need to socialize with each other. And you take that away from them and keep them at home all day or whatever else they do all day. I think that's a big takeaway in their development growing up. Learning how to deal with other kids and dealing with other kids and just socializing that goes on every day. So yes, Royce, totally agree. Did you notice the Paris? Go ahead, Roy. Did you have some else?
Sorry about that. I was just going to say that the power went out at my place. I had to jump to my phone. I'm waiting for the internet to come back online. I'll jump back to my computer again.
Oh, okay. Did you know that the Paris Independent School District, a school district in Northeast Texas, has found a creative way to get around Governor Abbott's ban on mask mandate? It'll require students to wear masks. There you go. Yeah, we just talked about that, Joe. Just talked about it.
Oh,
Now,
and I know, I think what I was saying when my power went out over here was about the immune system being the best thing to fight the virus. What I was going to say on that is just like the immune system adapts to things that it's exposed to handle them better, this virus is adapting. And that's what we're facing today. This isn't just the regular COVID and our bodies have got antibodies and have now adapted to it. This continues to mutate. So just it's our immune systems adapting, it's the virus adapting, and it's a race to see who's going to win first. How many of us can survive it versus how many of us can it kill?
Now, another question is, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, is the school district providing masks to kids who don't have them or don't have the proper masks? Or
I believe so. Because I remember visiting Lopez last school year, and they had Ford company, the car maker, had donated some that they were giving out at Lopez. So I believe that's probably true in all campuses.
Yeah, because I know that was one concern of a child wearing a mask all day, was that theoretically they're going to wear the mask all day, every day, and not clean it, or the parent's not going to wash it. It's not going to get sanitized or disinfected. And now they're wearing a dirty mask, day in and day out. So that was another concern about having them wear it all day also.
No, I think schools should issue the masks and issue them a fresh one daily.
So if you guys I don't know if you have children or not, are you okay with them going back to school and wearing masks all day?
I do not have kids, but I would support it.
Yeah. Yes. I was going to say, I think it's clear that neither one of us have kids. But no, I agree.
Wasn't sure. Just want to make sure.
I do. I do think, and the kids were really adaptable. I was impressed. My little nephew, the one who's going to turn 10 on Saturday, he's been used to wearing. Oh, that's bad. We froze again, right?
We should be back. We're back. I got you.
Okay. My nephew, he got used to wearing the mask right away because he went to school in person all of last year. So for him, it's not a problem wearing, or for any of the kids, I think it's not a problem wearing the mask all day. I think it's us older people who know about our personal freedoms more, that we're more rebellious in that respect.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know. Something makes me nervous about, especially if they're going to make them wear it when they're out or physical exercise or gym class. I don't know if they're going to wear them during all that too. I mean, that's not real safe. I would say, you're huffing and puffing. We've had this discussion before. Huffing and puffing, now you got a barrier there to make the airflow, restrict the airflow. That can't be good either. Just saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional or anything, but.
That's a good point, Manny, but I will say that I think that has a lot to do with the type of mask. And I can speak to this firsthand because there are times I've been at the gym and both been out on the trails, either riding or running. And there are definitely some masks that I've worn that I have a much harder time catching my breath and breathing. And then there's others where it's no problem whatsoever. So you've got to make sure you're wearing the right type of mask for whatever it is you're doing.
Are you saying you're one of those that are running outside by yourself with your mask on?
Not anymore. Early on, I would, only because I expect that at some point I'm going to cross paths with somebody going the opposite direction. And just like I'm breathing heavy from my physical activity, I expect they're going to be doing the same. And so early on, I would absolutely keep my mask up as well. Now that I'm fully vaccinated, I do that a lot less. And mostly because there's a lot of good etiquette out there on the trails. The crowds aren't as dense, and runners tend to have good etiquette as far as you stay to the right of the lane. So there's a little more distance between you guys, even when you're crossing paths.
I guess. I mean, I figured you're running. You see somebody in a distance.
I've done that before too. I have done that. And honestly, I've seen people do it when I'm running, and I know I'm breathing heavy because I'm a bigger guy. I've seen people actually go a little bit off the trail and walk as they're walking in the opposite direction. And I expect that's because, they don't want to take a chance that I might be carrying something and expose them to it. And I'm not offended one bit when they do that.
Yeah, and this is an issue that obviously will continue for the next, who knows? What do we got? We've got Delta, we got Lambda variant. I mean, there's a whole list of them that are like in line waiting to pop up whenever we're.
The Colombian variant as well.
Yeah. So whenever it's convenient for these to come out, that's when they'll come out.
Well, the good thing is, at least I think it's a good thing. From what I've seen, some of the science where they classify Delta as a strain of concern, I think the others like the Colombian and Lambda are more of a strain of interest. So they don't seem to be as high alert for the scientific community as Delta is.
Arlington ISD is giving disposable masks daily to all children who want to wear one. See, I was hoping that would be the case everywhere. Hi, Lynn. All right, let's jump into the meeting that happened yesterday. And I don't know, we don't need to get into a lot of this stuff right at the very beginning, roll call, that kind of thing. So what was was there a big topic of discussion last night, or what was a big item last night? If there was.
I think there were a couple of big items last night. The budget was first reading of the budget, and the appointment of an interim city attorney, to me, were probably two of the bigger items on the agenda.
Let's see. Consider records management policy, consideration and action for purchase and deliver audiovisual. So getting new computers. Okay, and then saw computer purchase for the libraries. Also, that was in there.
Oh, and Manny, I didn't realize when I sent you the link to the agenda to prep for tonight's meeting, it looks like I sent you my copy where I made my notes on the side.
Ah, okay.
That's why I see that highlighted there. Definitely was not my intent.
Gotcha. Should I ixnay this one? You send me another one?
Yeah, let me do that, please.
Okay. I was wondering what all those curse words were, but I figured just kidding. There were no curse words, I promise. Let's see. So looks like the hurricane. I forgot the hurricane's name that's coming this way.
Grace.
I know Fred was going up. Okay, Grace. You know, just like I told somebody, I'm like, it's going real slow, and if it stays going slow, it's not going to turn up and head in our direction, and that's what's happening. And then we got a pressure system north of us, which is pushing it, keeping it due west. Now, if it does pick up speed, you know, it is possible it'll curve up at the last minute. But as of right now, I can't say I've seen any sandbag notices. Have you guys seen any of that? Any of that yet?
Not recently.
No,
yes, but we did get a report where all the different departments were getting ready for the hurricane, like if it did come our way. Do you remember seeing that, Roy?
Yes, I did. I saw where, all the different departments and what preparations they were making. The commission was briefed on that. So I know I had a citizen ask me if the city was taking proper precautions, and I was confidently able to respond that we are.
And the information they provided was like generators were on standby over at the Impala pump station. They had moved around the motor so that the pump would be ready to go. The Parks Department was, I think, cleaning up the parks in case there's additional debris. Public Works and Engineering was probably cleaning out stormwater drainages. So every department has their own part to do.
Yeah, and I have been driving around the neighborhood last few days, and I have seen, the brush pickup has been, they've been out there picking up brush all over the place. At least in District 1, I've seen it.
Really? Because I was driving by and okay, well, I'm glad that you saw it. I haven't seen it, but okay,
I've seen it at least down here off of International, Roosevelt, my street, Avenida de la Plata, and in that whole area, I've seen a few different trucks on a few different days out there. So,
oh, good, okay.
And any other issues that you know about? Oh, somebody commented to me that they got in touch with you about somebody's lot, that somebody's grass needed cutting or was out of control. And
Are you referring to me?
yeah, and
Yeah,
they were
it
very.
supposedly got or it got fixed, hopefully, for the time being.
Yes. She said, hey, I sent her a message and she got back to me. And next thing you know, it was taken care of and they were out there. So they were very happy about that. Awesome. Good job.
Yes. Thank you. And I got a report from another house that's also a habitual offender. They red tagged it today, or I think in the past few days. Unfortunately, there's a process that they have to go. They always have to give, first put the reg tag, give them some time to respond. And then if they don't, then they can have like a third party go in and mow it. And then they just put a lien on the property. But they do have to go through the due process.
Oh, put a lien on it. Yeah. So how long does that have to take to get to that point?
Sadly, a couple of weeks at least, because I think they give them like 10 days to respond, right, to mow it themselves. But a lot of these houses, or there's a bunch that are that are abandoned. I don't know where the owners are. Maybe it's caught up like in a state court or something like that. Or maybe they don't live here in town anymore. So it can take a while.
Now, what normally happens, Manny, in cases like that is we look at the registered address for the property taxes. And so, if there's not a home there that we can go knock on the door and talk to somebody, we look at who the registered owner is that the tax bills are sent to, and that's where the notices are sent.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's unfortunate for that to have to happen, but and there's a few places. I mean, you drive around, you don't know if they just can't. They don't have the resources, or they can't afford to have it done, or they have no one to do it for them. But that is unfortunate. So
and that's another good example of where the problem here, and I've heard this from residents also, is eventually becomes so overgrown. You've got critters running out of there. You've got there. It becomes a public health hazard. Same concept here is, the government does have the right, the city does have the right to go in there and mandate that they do something about it. And if they don't, the city has the right to go in there and clean it up for the interest of public health.
So when they do that, who pays for that? Do they send the homeowner a bill?
Yep, that's where the lien comes in that Commissioner Golonsky was referring to, is whatever costs are incurred as a result of us having to clean up because of the owner's failure to comply, then a lien can be put on the property. And it would be the same like if it were a dilapidated house that needed to be condemned and either brought up to code or torn down. And if the owner refuses to comply, then the city would have to step in and do it. But same thing, whatever costs are incurred, a lien would be placed on the property to recoup those.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not a good situation.
Yeah.
So the library getting some new computer equipment. Okay, just consideration of action. So for people who don't understand, what does consideration of action actually mean?
And that just means that the notices that go out are in order to comply with the Texas Open Meetings Act. So that consideration and action is just to let people know that we're going to consider this item and may take action on it. So a deliberation could occur among the commissioners. That's why, like early on the agenda, you'll see a workshop. In a workshop, that's just information we're going to be presented. There's no consideration. There's no action that would happen as a result of that. But anything under the subsequent items that say consideration and action, that means there's likely to be discussion and deliberation among the commission, and they could take action on it.
Gotcha. And is there public comments going on? Well, obviously not live. Are you guys live at this point?
The meetings are, well, we're not live and in person yet. I believe our next meeting is supposed to be live and in person. I know there's public comment that happens earlier in the meeting. I think it's right above this section or right above the workshop section. And the public is allowed to comment on anything that's on the agenda or anything that's not on the agenda. Yeah, there's public comment period.
Gotcha. So okay, so it's not just one blanket rule for everything.
No, and then there's a section further down where you'll have public hearings, because these are items that if it's the first reading of a change to ordinance, for example, a public hearing is required. So even if the citizen didn't get to talk about it during public comment, something that has a public hearing, the floor is opened up and any citizen can speak on that as well.
Okay, so I'm looking at item 5, consideration and action, authorizing city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding between the city of Brownsville and Cameron County Library Systems to accept $66,000 to promote, develop, improve library facilities. So is this pretty much a what do you call it?
Like a gift or a grant.
Yeah. And that's for improvements there. And then let's see, geotechnical construction material testing. What the heck is that for? Let's see, renewal or extension of contract. Obviously, it's something that's existing already.
Yeah, I believe that has to do with environmental studies in different areas, when and where they're needed.
Speaking of that, any word on the FAA and SpaceX on that tower issue?
No, surprisingly, no, I haven't heard anything new on that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought that would be kind of responded to rather quickly. Let's see. Oh, by the way, in case you didn't watch yesterday, we had the Camille Lightner Playhouse on, and we did a little, just under an hour of meeting Marty and some of the cast and some of the production that goes on there. That was a very interesting show. Fun event. If you guys,
I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah,
I need to go back and watch the recording.
Yeah, it was the last night show. It was actually quite interesting. Sorry, Nurith, I didn't know that you had bowed out there real quick.
Oh, because I keep getting a frozen screen, and I'm here like, can we see each other? Or I hear your voice, but I just see us all frozen.
I think, I don't think we're seeing the freezing on our end. So when it freezes, it seems like you're still live on our side.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my phone.
Let's see. Considering that to enhance professional services to traffic signals. This is putting in a traffic light in that intersection. Is that right?
Much needed. Yes, that's in District 4, but that's absolutely a needed traffic signal.
Morrison Road, Laredo. That's okay. That's behind.
Behind Academy.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. So $75,000 is what it costs to put one of those things up there.
That's just the engineering.
No, that's the engineering and design work. That's not even for the signal itself.
Oh Lord, what does a signal cost? Just top of your head, any idea?
No
idea.
I
have no idea what the whole soup. Yeah, the whole process. What would that call to put a light?
I think it was a tag of about $300,000. So just so people know, because Ben got that done right before his term ended. So, and that was kind of the price that they quoted us. So altogether, that's what it's going to cost.
So just a ballpark. Anytime somebody's complaining about we need a light at an intersection, right away, cha-ching, it's going to be around $300,000. Yeah,
because in that area, they also have another intersection nearby that is probably going to need a light too. But then you need to coordinate the lights. It's not that easy. Like, oh, we're just going to stick a light and that's it. There is some art and science to it. So.
Just put a flashing stop sign. That'll do. Half the cost, and you can do it real quick.
You've been traveling way too much, man. You haven't been on Brownsville streets enough.
Put me in there. I can save you guys 60% on everything. Let's see.
Traffic cop for us.
Second and final reading ordinance number. That number there to authorize city manager to abandon and close a 5-foot utility easement. In a nutshell, let's see. What is this easement? Is it even just a minor thing?
Those are minor, and they pop up every now and then. I know we saw this with something very similar with Sombrero Festival's property, because we were looking at connecting to the sewer main. And when we were looking for connection points and we looked at the old plats of properties, the property right behind us, which back then was owned by the Filan family, had an easement that went right through the middle of the property. And it was a utility easement. And we had an option of going that direction or going down to Ringgold along city property. And in looking at that, the property owner right behind us, it wouldn't make sense for them to want to have utilities running right through the middle of it, because then that might preclude some things from being built, which would then affect the property value if they sold it. And ultimately, they did sell it to the foundation. So those are like old easements that were in place that are probably no longer necessary. But then we have to go through the formal process of abandoning them.
Very good. And I see approval second and final reading, a different one here, a zoning map from agricultural district to residential. Let's see, gotcha. Actually, somebody did mention this to me. Public hearing. So what was you were talking about? There was we'll just call it a hot topic or the main discussion on something yesterday. What was your item that you'd consider something that was?
Well, the budget's always going to be, I mean, for me, the budget was only because it got moved up on us. Anybody who keeps up with the commission meetings, at the last meeting, we were told the first vote on the budget would be on August 31st. And we found out 5 days ago that it was being moved up to August 17th. So there was a lot of work that I still wanted to do, and I still want to do. I'm still looking at different things that are part of the budget. So I was not happy at having to do a first reading and first vote last night. In addition, you've got the tax rate. Whenever there's a possible change in tax rate or adoption of a tax rate that's going to bring in new revenue for the city, of course, homeowners are always going to scrutinize that a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Approve resolution nominating Keppel Hamfels. Let's see, that was on there also. Let's see what else is on here. Oh, Port Zoo, wastewater replacement.
And that's just the engineering work to start on that. I think overall that's going to be about $5 million plus of work on wastewater in that area.
Consideration, okay, memorandum of understanding for a public partnership with Kaboom. What is Kaboom? A play area?
No, it's a nonprofit that builds playgrounds.
Gotcha. City manager to accept the grant of the American Rescue Plan from the FAA. Speaking of the FAA, you guys see that those jet bridges finally got installed the last couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And,
all of them, or just some of them?
Oh, they're right. At this point, they're all installed.
Oh, okay, cool.
It took them 2 to 3 days, something like that, 2.5 days to put them in there. And wow, it's like finally now some training on the jet bridge. All the staff has to get trained on them, and they should be ready to start receiving aircraft there and get rid of the dang buses.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think, and you'll see that on the next one where we've extended with Valley Transit 45 days as we make that transition.
Yeah, right here, just in case another 45 days. I know the training, all the personnel have to be trained on the airline side, and that does take a while. Somebody has to get trained and certified, and then that person has to train everyone else, and then they've all got to be trained on it, watched, use them for a little while, and then they can sign them off on it. So it does take a process, especially when you need so many people to get signed off to be able to use those things. Those are nice and brand new. We don't want to mess them up right away. But it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that. Getting the airport back to normal, huh?
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, Motorboat was finance director of financial statements for cash and investment. Let's see, consideration resolution. Let's see, appoint and reappoint 3 members to the Brownsville Board of Film Commission. So are we expecting or hoping more things to happen here?
Yes.
The movies and show business, we'll call it.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the first meeting of the Film Commission, or the swearing in of the Film Commissioners, so that they could start to have their regular meetings. But I know there's already a movie that's circulating that was hoping to have started shooting this summer, but I believe COVID did impact that. Now they're looking at a start date sometime this fall, likely mid fourth quarter of this year. But that's a decent sized budget for a film production down here. So that'll definitely be some positive economic impact. And one of the things that I've encouraged this film commission, just like I encouraged the last film commission to look at, is incentive programs to try and lure these productions down here. And of course, part of that is looking at how much money they'll be spending in local restaurants, in local hotels, and measuring that and determining what would be fair type of incentive that we could offer to supplement what the state already offers.
Yeah, it is exciting. I was remember they filmed, for those of you who don't know, Mel Gibson movie, a small part of it was filmed here. What's called Get the Gringo, wasn't it?
I don't recall the name of that one.
Really?
I know which one you're talking about. I don't think I've seen it.
Get the Gringo Mel Gibson movie, and they filmed a short, very short snippet of it here. Part of it on, I think on 48, and then a little bit downtown at a phone booth or something. And
I remember the buzz on social media when he was in town filming. I do remember that.
Yep, and then they filmed Friday Night Lights, the TV series. There was a scene where the kid in the wheelchair was paralyzed. Somebody told him about some magical treatment he can get done in Mexico so he can possibly walk again. So they turned downtown Brownsville into a Mexican town. And I was in there. I was one of the Mexicans crossing the street. So you see me like for a split second. But it is exciting. You know, there's trailers everywhere and all the activities that go on with filming. And it's got to be good for the city. Let's see, consideration item to approve. Let's see. So our tax is going to go up. Sorry, I'm reading a comment on there. So taxes are going to go up inevitably, I imagine.
Taxes are going to go up more as a result of property valuations going up, more so than because of any changes in tax rate by the city.
That's correct.
And people Cameron County, if your property taxes have gone up drastically, and I mean, for no reason other than they're just increasing it. You can fight that. You can request a review of your assessment. You have to go to the San Benito office. I think you can do it online to request an appointment, and then they'll set up an appointment. And then you go and state your case, and it's like sitting in front of a jury, and they'll rule on it right there, and they'll either reverse it or it'll just go back and forth. But you can fight that, so. I don't think that you're stuck with that. Let's see, executive session or anything else that you want to bring up that was noteworthy from last night?
I just thought the last item, or item number 1 there under possible action for items in executive session was, and I know this was out in a press release, and for those that read the blogs, it was out in the blogs also, that the former city attorney, Rene de Cos, is now the new presiding judge over at Municipal Court. And last night, the commission did appoint Victor Flores, who is an assistant city attorney in the city attorney's office, as the interim while we go through the search process. The mayor has appointed Commissioner Golonsky, myself, and he will also be serving on that search committee. And I believe he may even bring in a couple of attorneys from the local community to serve as well.
So that search is officially on, is that right?
The process is starting, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that was it for that. Anything going on in your districts you want to bring up, either one of you?
Brush is the one I hear about the most local lately. I think we had gotten close to being caught up with brush, it seemed, in late June, early July, but it seems like now pickups are being missed again and we may be falling behind. So I'll be having a conversation with our administration to reach out to Republic and find out what the status is.
Well, and we got the report, I think it was earlier this week, that they hired another third party again, just to try to get stay on top of the pickup schedule. But they will present at the first September meeting. Republic will be there to answer questions. So in that respect, I would encourage any public members who want to engage to sign up for a public comment. Yeah,
absolutely. What have you guys heard on, we already kind of mentioned it, ain't no word on the SpaceX. Any weather forecasting that you guys see beyond what the regular public sees? Anything that you see down the road? Are we going to have a busy hurricane season as far as what you guys know?
No, we don't have any additional insight into that than the National Weather Service provides anybody else.
Look at the almanac. You got to see what's coming down the line. Look at the
Farmer's Almanac.
Look down. It's going to say, "Oh yeah, we're going to get nailed in September or something." Isn't that what the planning department is supposed to do? Kind of plan, or do they not? Is that a weather department?
That would probably be Office of Emergency Management who would look at that.
Good. Let's see what else we got here. Boca Chica. Any statistics? Any noise coming from that situation. Construction still going on. Some people are complaining. A lot of U-turns going on. A lot, when just causing the traffic, the intersection lights to they're not green long enough because you got people making U-turns and they're going slower doing that, so cars can't. The time to make a left turn is now being cut down by cars making U-turns.
I know the barrels are still up. I can't say the construction is still ongoing. I almost never see construction crews actually working.
No,
but I'm not in that area as much.
Where they were working was right at that intersection of on Boca Chica, where the Target used to be.
Okay.
Right there, they were working for a long time, but they've since opened that up, and now you have access into that plaza. And I was just wondering, is it too much of a pain in the butt to tweak the lights a little bit because people are making U-turns now, and now things are a little slower. Short lights are not; they don't last long enough. Especially,
I do think that that's something that they're working on. I find that it's been easier because I live over like by Billy Mitchell. So to get from Billy Mitchell to the expressway, it's a lot faster now because at least we have the 2 lanes at the intersection with the 4 corners, whereas before it was just 1 lane going westbound. And I think that, there's fewer traffic lights and they're better coordinated so that it takes me a lot less time now to get to the expressway than it did before. But then again, I'm not traveling though at the time when I would see. I usually go really early, so I haven't seen the U-turn that you're talking about. You know what I did notice though this week that I was like, there's a lot of 18-wheeler trucks going on Old Port Isabel Road, and that doesn't seem like the right kind of road to be handling such heavy traffic.
Actually, this week. Yeah, that probably is a good observation. I hadn't thought about that. You're right. So. Yeah, you're right. The afternoons always got that traffic coming down International and then hopping on the expressway there right at the end, right at 77 going into Mexico, and that gets pretty hairy. A lot of those trucks are just taking the yellow and then taking the red. I don't know what has to happen with that, or if anything can happen with that. But that's a pretty bad situation there. Overall, the construction on Boca Chica, I think traffic-wise, I think it's gotten better right now. It was bad a few weeks ago, but I think there are a couple of spots where you can make a U-turn. I think people are actually utilizing those, and not at an intersection, like right in front of the U-Haul, just past HEB. There's a little interchange there where they can, when they're coming down, I guess southbound, they can make a little U-turn there, and more people are utilizing that instead of causing a delay at an intersection. So I don't know. I've seen it, and I think traffic has gotten a little better.
I can't wait until they paint the lines because this is my route almost every day, from Billy Mitchell to the expressway. Right after I cross the 4 corners going westbound. And so you have the lane that's coming in from like the island and then around the Raising Cane's and all that. There's no lines. And so people get all weirded out and they don't know where the 3 lanes go. So I can't wait until they paint the lane.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about exactly right there. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Well, pretty soon. I know they're putting in the flower beds or the tree beds in there. Mm-hmm. And some of those are getting completed already. So at some point, they'll start to remove and paint. It looks like it's winding down. Mm-hmm. So it'd be nice to get all those big orange barrels away from there.
Mm-hmm.
Any numbers at all? Vaccination rates? Are people getting vaccinated?
I participated in the hospital call yesterday. And one of the things that really struck me was that the oldest person at one of the hospitals who is ventilated is 55, and the average age of the people that are ventilated for COVID is 44, which leads them to think that there's a good vaccination rate among seniors because they're no longer the majority of the people who are on ventilators at the hospital, but it is younger people like my sister's age, who have probably not decided to take the vaccine, and so they end up in the hospital, which is unfortunate.
So, there's so much, I don't want to say misinformation. I just think there's a lot of information out there that's all over the place. Like I told, I had Mr. Ed Hernandez, PA. He was on here a couple of days ago also. And the other gentleman last week, Mr. Escobar, and I asked both. I told them, I said, you can ask 25 different healthcare workers and you'll get 25 different answers, whether or not the vaccine works. Does it work? If it works, why are people getting infected? Are the vaccinated spreading the thing more than the non-vaccinated? You get people arguing, people fighting, yelling at the non-vaccinated, calling them killers or murderers or whatever, and it's just gotten, I don't know where there's a safe place to get some accurate or good information. I mean, no matter where you go, you hear something different. And I'm not even talking about Fauci, because you get something different depending on what day of the week it is from him. So you can't rely on that. I know Roy likes him, but you can't rely on that.
Well, I trust him more than I trust a lot of the news outlets.
Well, I mean, he's talking to a lot of the news outlets. I mean, are you guys, I don't know, if you want to get into this just a little more, do you believe the vaccine works?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, it's not 100%. It's going to reduce your chance of getting it by 80% or 90%, depending on which vaccine you've got. Nothing's going to be 100% that's out there right now. But do I think it works? Absolutely.
I think it works to the extent that it'll keep us out of the hospital. Like if you do get it, the symptoms will not be so severe that you end up in the hospital. Once you're fully vaccinated. And so for the people who are choosing not to vaccinate, okay, well, maybe you do have an immune system, like you said, that is strong enough to withstand it. But then there will be some who might not, and so they'll end up being in the hospital. Okay.
And I think the numbers we've heard is that those that are ending up in the hospital, over 90% of those being hospitalized are unvaccinated. That's the science right there. That speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And what about what you hear on numbers on children being hospitalized? I know people keep throwing that numbers out there. Well, they're not throwing numbers. They're just saying the hospitals are full of children right now. And I just show me, or do you guys have any evidence of that at all?
Well, like what you see on the news or hear on the news, in Houston, supposedly they have a lot of children in the hospital. Just anecdotes that I've heard. I remember my cousin saying that a teenager sometime last year that she knew, he had it and maybe last fall, and he didn't show symptoms until much later on, and then they were really serious. So that's kind of scary. That might not be the majority. That might be the small minority, but it is scary to think like, well, what if it's your child, or what if it's your relative?
And I think since kids were one of the last groups to get approved for the vaccine, the younger ages, that's why we're seeing it trend now towards younger aged individuals more so than seniors. So
the booster has been approved to be given, not approved as approved by the FDA as safe, but it's been approved to be time to start to get some people their third booster shot. Apparently they're saying it's been about 8 months is what they're giving the, what do they call it, efficacy of the original booster shot, the original vaccination. So they chose the 8 month. I was watching a conversation they were having. It's not just a random number, but it was a kind of an educated guess between the healthcare professionals that they decided that 8 month was a good time to get that third. Are you guys going to get the booster shot?
I will, if it's offered, absolutely.
I still have a few months to think about it, but interestingly, one of the comments that they made in the hospital call yesterday is that they might start keeping track. There's some people that they've identified. They had the 2 booster shots, and then they're taking the third shot. They had they're fully vaccinated, and then they're taking a booster shot of a different brand. So say they had Moderna the first 2 rounds, and now they're going to take a Johnson & Johnson. So that's kind of weird because I thought you had to stay with the same brand. So let's see what happens.
I think that question was asked to PA Ed Hernandez, and I think he said it didn't matter which one you took.
I think I prefer the same one I took.
Yeah,
Norma. I'm glad that your 88-year-old mother did not have worse symptoms. So.
Yeah, Norma says, my 88-year-old mother got COVID. She was vaccinated. All she had was a drippy nose. Thank God. She's doing amazingly well. Glad to hear that.
Thank God.
And Joe, if you go to COVID-19 statistics, it will show percentages of hospitalized children and those who have not been vaccinated. Yeah, and who runs that website? See, I'm becoming that kind of person. Like, all right, who runs that website now? And I hate being that kind of person, but I was telling a few people last week, I got vaccinated back in March, and now after hearing all this, I thought, oh man, I started. Sometimes I regret it. Everybody starts to put all the fear out there. Oh, you're gonna die, or you're gonna have a heart attack, or you're gonna whatever's gonna happen. And I started thinking about that. And it's like, I can't let that. I can't keep thinking about that. I've lost sleep the last couple of nights just thinking, oh man, what's going to happen to me? And then all of a sudden I'm having to, kind of just, it's affecting me when it hasn't over the last few months. So
Which one did you get?
I got the Pfizer.
And you have both doses?
Yeah. That was in March.
In March. So you've been done for a while now. Interestingly, I have a friend who's been stuck in India for the entire time of the pandemic.
Ooh.
And so he got his first dose, but he decided of his own volition to wait like 4 months to get the second dose because he thought that might be more effective. So some people just decide, I'm going to do it my own way kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I wish there was something that's, everything got so politicized. Everything got politicized. And it's hard to go anywhere. And believe me, Fox News or MSNBC is not the place to get news on this stuff. And even the CDC website, I'm starting to wonder how, for sure, don't go to WHO, the World Health Organization. And I just don't know. I don't know where there's an actual legit, and I don't know, numbers anywhere. I don't know when numbers are accurate after so many days. Nobody reports them, that timely, like in 24 hours. Like, I don't know. I guess it's not easy to do that, to that kind of reporting that fast or that accurately. So it's just, you have to really look around and read a lot of things. Don't just read one report or one website. You have to go around and again.
But people need to use common sense also. There's a lot of information out there, but you've got to use common sense because bottom line, Jesus Christ could come down tomorrow and tell us, here is the gospel fact on this virus. And you will still have 10,000 people calling him a liar and saying he's crazy because that's the world we live in today.
Yeah, absolutely. And there have been actual medical doctors, physicians, MDs speaking a lot lately at school board meetings all around the country. And these are actual legitimate doctors. And they'll state their opinion, the masks don't work, let you work on your immune system. And then they get attacked. This guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like, there's a lot of that going around too. So
there's crazies who are even educated.
Yeah.
I got into it with a doctor online several weeks ago, back when we were still in the middle of the election, claiming that less than 1% of the entire population of the world is even gay. So they don't even understand why gay people are being considered for given rights. I'm like, oh, come on.
Ugh.
And his scientific evidence was he knows like 2,000 people and only 2 of them are gay, according to him. Yeah.
Well, everybody's an expert now.
Uh-huh.
So what Mr. Escobar was saying, and then Ed Hernandez also touched on this. He said, everybody work on yourself, improve your diets, improve your physical state, and boost your immune system. Quit eating red meat. Red meat causes inflammation. And red meat causes inflammation. I know, Roy. I saw that face. I hate. That kills me, the thought of not going to Texas Roadhouse. But red meat causes inflammation instantly, not like 3 days later or a week later. No, as soon as you eat it, it starts to swell up your critical parts of your body that don't need to be swollen, and that's how fast that works. So taking red meat out of your diet, taking actually all meat out of your diet, including chicken, you go, and I've read this and seen documentaries on this, 3 different ones, and websites a lot, because I needed heavy convincing before you get me to become a vegetarian. But I'm looking at it, and plant-based diet is going to take care of a lot of your problems, including diabetes and high cholesterol levels. Is it easy to cut meat out? Heck no. Especially we're in Texas. Try to tell somebody not to eat meat down here, they're gonna, So, I
think genetics play a part of it also. I think with any diet you'll see out there, it's not going to work the same for every individual. So yeah, genetics definitely play a role in that, and what works well for some might not work well for others. The diet that I went on was cutting down on carbs and doing intermittent fasting, but very heavy on protein, whether it's beef or chicken or fish. And I don't think I overdo it when it comes to red meat. I'm sure my doctor would like me to eat less of it, but my numbers in the 3 years that I've been on the diet have been fantastic with regard to diabetes and anything else.
And the problem isn't in the red meat itself, but it's in what's being fed to the animals and all the chemicals that are going in there that the animals eat. And now all of a sudden, the meat, which may have been, pure and good to eat at one point, now it's full of a bunch of crap. And that's the problem. Same thing with chicken, steroids, hormones.
But isn't that the same with crops and pesticides and the water runoff and everything? Yeah. So whether it's vegetables or meat, you're facing that possibility.
Yeah, and that's why they want you to buy organic stuff that's not covered in pesticides. And
I support that.
I'm sure it's marketing too. It costs more money. It's a lot more expensive. I was looking at cucumbers at HEB are $2.50 a piece for organic cucumber. And I was like, whoa. Normally you can get $3 for $1 or whatever it is, and now you're putting $2.50 for one. So it's a little pricey. But if it's really true that they don't have pesticides and all the other crap that's in there, I don't know, just something to consider. Cut back on some of the meat, boost your immune system. A lot of vitamin C. They're talking, I think they're talking about 1 gram a day of vitamin C. At the very worst, a couple thousand milligrams. Those emergency little pouches. Mm-hmm. Do a couple of those a day. Zinc and vitamin D, and you should be good. So everybody switch to vegan right now. Plant a garden. Yeah, I know. Plant a garden. And I want to go to Texas Roadhouse tomorrow now. But
that's why we love supporting the local farmers market and the Wellness Coalition, because we've got a lot of folks who grow a lot of produce locally.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody just take care of yourselves. Boost your immune systems. Look it up. It's all over the internet. You can find different things on boosting your immune system. Lose the weight. Obesity is one problem that COVID can attach itself to people that have compromised immune systems. And if you're diabetic or if you're heavy, you're compromised already, and the numbers are against you. So just live a healthier lifestyle, and you should be good. Guys, anything you want to close with tonight? On anything at all? Something you want to promote? Something you want to shout out? Whatever.
I just hope that the school year, that all the students, teachers, faculty at the different schools, that they have a good year, that be patient, be kind to one another. It's kind of like learn, what is it, trial by fire? And unfortunately, that's the lesson we have to learn these days. We have to learn how to kind of go with the flow, but yet still be respectful with one another.
Yeah, I'm hoping this lawsuit thing, it doesn't become too much of a distraction, and hopefully the teachers can just put it on the back burner while let it happen, and just focus on being with the kids. I know that's hard to talk about. Everybody's going to be talking about that lawsuit every day, and whatever's happening with it. Joe says five of the healthiest meals: sirloin steak. Sirloin steak is both lean and flavorful. Just 3 ounces, packs of 25. Roy, do you eat just 3 ounces of a steak?
Nope.
25 grams of filling protein. Rotisserie chicken and turkey. The rotisserie cooking method helps maximize flavor without relying on unhealthy additives. Chicken thighs, pork chops, canned fish. Yeah, careful on the fish. There's a lot of mercury in fish. A lot of fish isn't good for you either.
So I probably get about 100 grams of protein with a serving of red meat.
You should watch that documentary if you haven't seen it on Netflix called What the Health.
I'll check that out.
Oh man, that's that eye-opening. And apparently it's been around for a couple of years, but I just got around to it and it's like, wow. So that's why I'm looking at adding more. I'm not going to cut the meat, not anytime soon, but I'm adding more veggies and salads and that kind of, rabbit food. If it'll help. You know what I used to do in the morning was a celery shake. Celery, cucumber, a little bit of ginger, I think, and you drink that. You drink a glass every morning. That was actually real good. Refreshing.
A high fiber diet is good.
Yeah. Roy, any last words from you, sir?
Just since we were talking about Pony League earlier, I encourage people to support all of our local sports teams, especially with regard to our youth. I know this weekend, Commissioner Golonsky and I are invited to be honorary co-captains at the UT-RGV versus St. Mary's soccer game at the Brownsville Sports Park.
Oh, that's
Right.
awesome.
So are you wearing like special garb? Like, are you wearing a vaquero shirt or something?
I
or
had not
soccer
even.
referee outfit.
Oh, that's
I
very
thought
tempting.
about it.
I thought briefly about what to wear. I've just been so distracted with other stuff. I haven't really put enough thought into it. I'd like to dress for the park, but I don't know that I've got anything that's soccer specific. I may have to go out and buy something.
Me too. But there's time.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Camille line. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
I would encourage people to go out for that because we have fought long and hard to try to get UTRGV sports back in Brownsville, and so this is just the beginning. If we go out and show our support and our pride for the vaqueros, they'll keep coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Saturday at 6. Saturday 6 at the sports park.
Saturday, 6 p.m. Is that just buy tickets when you're there, or you can buy them ahead of time, or how does that work?
I don't
Was
know.
it free? I think maybe it might even be free.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to look at. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, let me know on that, and I'll definitely put it up there and see if we get the crowd going out that way. Just like talking to the Camille Lightner Playhouse last night, they're opening up their 58th season and their production of the Best Little Whorehouse of Texas.
In Texas.
And should be a fun time. They're trying to raise funds. They also need a new roof, they found out, so they're trying to raise funds for that. So if you can support them by going out and buying tickets to watch their productions, please do so. And if you can't make it out or you don't feel comfortable being out, if you can throw them a little donation to help out with that roof, but they definitely need a new roof. And
yeah, their new website is up and running now. You can make donations there if you don't have the time to come by in person or aren't comfortable with in-person transactions still. And fun fact for you, Manny, I actually auditioned for a role in that performance.
Yes, we heard. We heard all about it. We heard all about it last night. And it sounds to be a fun time. You have a lot of great people there. And
yes.
So if you can make it out to opening night, I think was September 10th or 15th or something like that, whatever that weekend is.
I think it's the 10th. Let's see.
And tickets are $25. You can get them ahead of time or you can get them at the door if it doesn't sell out. It's the theater packs 300. They're going to do social distancing, so they're only going to sell 180 seats. So if you can make it there, that'd be great. Show some support. And get out of the house. A lot of you guys have been, I know some people are getting cabin fever because of COVID. It's time to get out a little bit. She mentioned the first 2 or 3 rows are going to be empty because the players will not be wearing masks while they do their acting. So because of that, they're going to clear the first 2 or 3 rows just to be extra safe.
Yeah, it's September 10th, the 10th, 11th, 12th, and then the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
There you go. Show your support, Camille Leitner Playhouse. It's CamillePlayhouse.net. That's right. All righty. You guys, thanks for coming out tonight on another late night. Anything comes up in the meantime, well, I'll get back to both of you, and we'll see if we have to discuss anything urgent that comes up.
Very good. We're always available for you for that.
Hopefully the weather's good. The weather's on our side, but if something does come up urgent, feel free to knock on my door, and we'll, discuss and make public whatever needs to. Or if you just want to throw something that needs to be out there, I'll gladly post it all day long, whatever you need. Awesome. Nurith, thank you so much for coming out. Roy, as always,
thank you for inviting me.
That's awesome. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys doing this. And
always a good time.
People like to watch us in the morning, and they'll see what went on. So much appreciated. Everyone, have a great night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again in a couple days. I got some great important shows coming up, and I'll let you know what those are this week. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks a lot, guys.